and welcome to News Now. I'm your host, Taylor Inman. We're going over the biggest headlines this week for Northwest Montana. In what turned out to be a GOP-led rout in Montana in Tuesday's election, voters in 2 Flathead County districts elected Democrats to the state legislature, flipping a seat after redistricting. Democratic lawmaker Dave Fern, who was elected to represent Senate District 2 in the State House, said it's good that the 2025 session will have some competing ideas. Fern, a policy junkie and the sole Flathead Valley Democrat in the State House for almost a decade, said he was excited at the prospect of returning to Helena with another Flathead Democrat. Voters sent political newcomer and Democrat Debo Powers to victory in House District 3. With 73% of the county's vote counted as of Wednesday morning, Republicans swept the ballot from the presidential race to the county commissioners. Fern, though, led Republican candidate Doug Adams with 52% of the vote as of Wednesday morning, netting 6,629 votes compared to Adams' 5,998. Powers defeated Republican Kathy Mitchell in House District 3 with 52% of the vote, securing 3,445 votes to Mitchell's 3,208. Flathead County voters also re-elected a slate of conservatives, including longtime Republican Carl Glimm for Senate District 3. Glimm defeated Democrat Angela Kennedy with 70% of the vote. Republican Representative Braxton Mitchell secured his return to Helena against Democrat Steve Paul in House District 5, earning 4,553 votes compared to Paugh's 1,622. Also among those re-elected were former Speaker of the House Matt Regier and his sister Representative Amy Regier. Both are Republicans. The reason for the near-Republican clean sweep, he said, was because Montanans resonate with the common-sense ideas espoused by conservatives. Matt Regier secured Senate District 5 after terming out of the House, defeating Democrat Link Niemark with 74% of the vote. Representative Amy Regier, who chaired the House Judiciary Committee in 2023, beat Velvet Phillips Sullivan in House District 6 with 69% of the vote. A freshman legislator in 2023, Representative Courtney Sprunger will return to Helena to represent downtown Kalispell in 2025. Sprunger came out on top of Democrat Arthur Fretheim after securing 65% of ballots cast. Newcomer Republicans Tom Millett, Lynn Bennett, and Lucas Schubert will also go to Helena for the first time, representing House Districts 2, 4, and 8 respectively. Their Democratic counterparts were Brad Simonis, Lindsey Jordan, and Beth Seibert. In other races across the valley, Republican Steve Kelly beat Democrat Joanne Morrow in House District 9, Republican Terry Falk topped Democrat Devin McCroney in House District 10, Republican Ed Byrne won against Democrat Jennifer Allen in House District 11, and Republican Tracy Sharp beat out Democrat Barry Olson in House District 12. Flathead Valley voters differed from the state on some constitutional amendments and judicial decisions. In Flathead County, voters backed both Dan Wilson and Corey Swanson for the Supreme Court. While Swanson beat out rival Jeremiah Lynch statewide, Wilson ultimately came up short against Catherine Bittigary. A 39-year-old man is in the Flathead County Detention Center following a police chase through Kalispell on Tuesday. Eric Apple is being held on pending felony charges and outstanding warrants following the pursuit, according to the Kalispell Police Department. The chase began at about 11:34 a.m. when officers unsuccessfully attempted to make a traffic stop on East Idaho Street. Authorities said officers had recognized the driver, identified as Apple, and knew of his outstanding warrants. Flathead County Sheriff's Office deputies and Montana Highway Patrol troopers assisted Kalispell police officers in the ensuing pursuit, which ended in Apple's arrest. Video posted to social media shows a police cruiser performing what is known as a precision immobilization technique to end the pursuit on US 93 in South Kalispell. Authorities urge anyone with information about the chase to contact Captain Chad Fetvite at 406-758-7790. Montanans on Tuesday voted 57% in favor of a constitutional amendment aimed at safeguarding abortion access in the state. The Associated Press called the race for CI 128 at about 4 a.m. on Wednesday morning. The subject of intense campaigning from anti-abortion and abortion rights groups in the lead up to the November 5th election, the initiative passed by more than 78,000 votes. The language in CI 128 asked voters if they wanted to amend the state constitution to expressly provide a right to make and carry out decisions about one's own pregnancy, including the right to an abortion. It also prohibits the government from burdening the right to abortion before fetal viability, as well as laying out protections for healthcare workers who perform abortions. Montanans Securing Reproductive Rights led the campaign for the ballot initiative. In a release on Wednesday, the group celebrated victory at the ballot box. The group had over 500 volunteers working with the campaign in the run-up to the election. The road to get the initiative on the ballot was rocky. Challenges began cropping up in January when Republican Attorney General Austin Knudsen deemed it legally insufficient because it grouped together multiple distinct legal questions about abortion in one amendment. The Montana Supreme Court later ruled that Knutson's finding was incorrect and that the ballot issue could advance through the multi-step process to appear on this fall's ballot. In April, Republican Secretary of State Christy Jacobson cleared the proposal's supporters to begin collecting signatures to put CI 128 on the ballot. But in the following months, Montanans securing reproductive rights staffers and volunteers repeatedly clashed with anti-abortion groups and protesters, many of whom followed signature gatherers around in an effort to deter voter support. Conflict over the amendment again flared up in July when Jacobson's office decided to exclude registered voters who were listed as inactive from counting toward the signature threshold, reversing a long-standing precedent. Montanans Securing Reproductive Rights organizers said in Wednesday's release that despite the opposition, their coalition was able to overcome the challenges by, quote, sharing the facts and bringing voters together across the political spectrum. Organizers with Montanans Securing Reproductive Rights said the outcome of other races in Montana and across the country could affect Montanans' reproductive rights. They said they and their partners will remain vigilant while working to support Montana patients and families. Ashley All with Montanans Securing Reproductive Rights said if a federal abortion ban is passed, it would overrule the new Montana state constitutional right. Montana also has its fair share of pro-life groups, many of whom mourned the election results. SBA Pro-Life America attributed the loss to the amount of money abortion access groups spent promoting the initiative. They also accused the amendment supporters of deceiving voters. The two other constitutional initiatives to overhaul the state's elections met defeat at the ballot box. CI 126 would have created an open primary election so that all candidates, regardless of party, would appear on the same ballot in June, according to the language in the amendment. The top four candidates would move on to the November election. CI 127 called for switching from plurality voting to majority voting. The measure required that the top candidate in any race be elected with a majority of 50% of more, rather than a plurality of the vote. If no candidate received at least 50% of the vote, then the legislature would determine how the winner is selected. CI 126 was rejected 51.8% to 48.2%, and CI 127 was rejected 60.9% to 39.1%, according to the Associated Press, which called the races at about 9 a.m. on November 6th. Both measures were supported by Montanans for Election Reform. Board member Frank Gardner said in a statement on Wednesday that it was disappointing to see, quote, politicians and special interests once again succeeding at stopping Montanans from gaining more power in our elections. Gardner told the Daily Interlake on Wednesday that he appreciated the opportunity to talk about these issues with voters. He said it's been an honor to work as a volunteer with a group of people that shared the mission of, quote, open primaries and giving people the freedom to vote for who they want to. He said at the end of any campaign, organizers become reflective and think about missed opportunities. Even though they spent time trying to reach as many people as they could throughout the state, Garner said Montana covers a lot of land. In an election year with contentious senatorial, gubernatorial, and presidential races, it becomes obvious how big of a task it is to try to reach people in every corner of the state. Thanks for joining us. News Now is a podcast from the Daily Interlake. We're proud to be the largest independent newsroom in Montana and the oldest paper in the Valley. Local journalism is important, and subscribing to your local newspaper is one of the best things you can do for your community. The Daily Interlake is celebrating its 135th birthday with a special subscription offer of only $19.50 per month for a home-delivered newspaper, plus full digital access to all 8 of our award-winning independent newspapers. Give us a call at 406-755-7018 to sign up today and do your part to keep community journalism alive and thriving. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode of the pod. Everybody stay safe and have a great week. Thanks to our sponsor, Lauren's Auto Repair at 1309 U.S. Highway 2 in Kalispell. Most consistently rated 5-star shop serving the Kalispell area. Visit lawrensauto.com.
Will take care of you. The highest rated and